دعاء الافتتاح. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. O Allah, I begin the glorification of you with praising you, and you always guide us to the right out of your favoring upon us. And I am certain that you are the most merciful of those who show mercy in situations of pardon and mercy. But you are very exacting in situations of giving exemplary punishment and chastisement to the wrongdoers. And you are the greatest omnipotent in the domain of absolute power and might. O Allah, you have permitted me to pray and beseech you. So listen, O the All-Hearer, to my words of praise. And please reply my prayer, O the All-Merciful. And please overlook my slips, O the oft-forgiving. You, O my God, have relieved so many of my griefs, and you have dispelled so many of my sorrows, and you have overlooked so many of my slips, and you have spread over me many of your mercies, and you have unlocked so many of rings of misfortunes in which I was detained. All praise be to Allah, who has not betaken wife or son, and who has no partner in the sovereignty, nor has he any protecting friend through dependence, and magnify him with all magnificence. Allahu Akbar. All praise be to Allah with all gratitude for all his bounties. All praise be to Allah, who has no opposition in his rule, nor there is any challenge to his commands. All praise be to Allah, who has no counsel to meddle with his operation of creation, nor there is anything similar to him in his greatness. All praise be to Allah, whose commandments are active in the creation, and the praising of whom is incumbent. His glory is evident through his kindness. His distinct overflowing generosity is freely available. His unlimited bestowals do not exhaust, and he does not swell the numerous benefits except because of generosity and kindness. Verily, he is mighty, generous. O Allah, I ask for some from much in the midset. O Allah, I ask for some from much in the midst of my many needs, from which I entirely depend on you, and you since eternity are able to do without them. But for me it is a titanic effort, and for you it is very easy and simple. O Allah, truly, as you pardon my sins, and you overlook my mistakes, and you take a lenient view of my disorderly conduct, and you cover up my foul actions, and you show consideration in spite of my transgressions committed willfully or negligently. All that tempted me to ask for that which I do not deserve from you on account of your mercy, and you may give me the daily bread, and you may provide me with that which is suitable for me through your control, and you may distinguish me with favorable reply to my requests. So I persist in calling out, believing in you, and I invoke you, talking familiarly, not afraid nor shy, but assured of your love and kindness whenever I turn to you. A temporary setback, and I, out of ignorance, begin to despair. Although perhaps slowing down may be a blessing in disguise, because you alone know all the consequences. I do not know a generous master who is more accommodating to the dissatisfied servants than you are to me. O Lord, you give an invitation, but I turn it down. And you become familiar with me, but I do not care for you. And you show affection to me, but I do not correspond to you, as if you are overreaching me, yet you do not abstain from having mercy upon me and doing favors to me and blessing me out of your magnanimity and generosity. So please have mercy on your ignorant servant and bestow upon him with the favors of your beneficence. Verily, you are generous and kind. All praise be to Allah, the owner of the sovereignty, who sets the course of skies and the stars, who controls the winds, who causes the daybreak, and who administers the authority, the Lord of the worlds. All praise be to Allah for His indulgence, although He has full acquaintance with all things. All praise be to Allah for His amnesty, although He has full power over all things. All praise be to Allah for the respite He allows in spite of provocation. All praise be to Allah for the respite that He allows in spite of provocation. He is able to do whatever He wills. All praise be to Allah, the Creator of all created beings, who makes the sustenance freely available, who starts the day, who is the owner of glory, might, favors, and bounties, and who is so far away that none of us can ever see Him. And in the same time He is so near that He is fully aware of even the whispering secrets. Blessed the exalted be He. All praise be to Allah, who has no equal to challenge Him, nor is there an image comparable to Him, nor is there a helper to assist Him. He tames the powerful by His force, and disgraced are the great ones before His greatness. So He through His power fulfills that which He wills. All praise be to Allah, who gives answer to me whenever I call Him, and He covers up my shortcomings, yet I disobey Him, and He gives me the largest part of the bounties, yet I do not show His gratitude. Many and auspicious favors has He given me, and many a terrible dangers has He turned off, and many a blossoming joys had He made available for me. Therefore I sing His praises and recite His glorifications, and mention Him with exaltation. All praise be to Allah, whose screen cannot be penetrated, and whose door is not blocked, and whose beseecher is not rejected, and one whom hopes. All praise be to Allah, whose screen cannot be penetrated, and whose door is not blocked, and whose beseecher is not rejected, and one who hopes him is not disappointed. All praise be to Allah, who secures the frightened ones, who comes to the help of the upright ones, who promotes the cause of the weak ones, annihilates the autocrats, who destroys rulers and appoints in others instead. All praise be to Allah, the eradicator of the tyrants, the terminator of the unjust ones, the catcher of the fugitives, the punisher of the unjust ones, the aid of the seekers of aid, the settler of the needs of the beseechers, and the support of the faithful believers. All praise be to Allah. In His awe-inspiring fear, the heavens and its dwellers tremble and shiver, and the earth and its inhabitants shake and quiver, and the oceans and all that which float and swim in their waters float together in excitement and tumult. All praise be to Allah, who has guided us to this. We could not truly have been led aright if Allah had not guided us. All praise be to Allah, who created but is not created. And all praise be to Allah, who creates but is not created, and He gives subsistence but He needs no provisions, and He gives food to eat but He takes no nourishment, and He makes the living dead, and He brings the dead to life, but He is the ever-living, there is no death for Him. In His hands is all the good, and He is able to do all things. O Allah, please do send blessings on Muhammad, your servant and messenger, and your confidant, friend, and beloved intimate, and the choicest of your created beings, and the bearer of your sacraments, and the quotient of your messengers, with the most superior, the most exquisite, the most handsome, with the most superior, the most exquisite, the most handsome, the most perfect, the most upright, the most prospering. O Allah, please do send blessings on Muhammad, your servant and messenger, and your confidant, friend, and beloved intimate, and the choicest of your created beings, and the bearer of your sacraments, and the quotient of your messengers, with the most superior, the most exquisite, the most handsome, the most perfect, the most upright, the most prospering, the most pleasant, the most thoroughly purified, the most sublime, the most and the best blessings, advantages, mercies, affections, and salutations that you have ever made available to any one of your servants and prophets, and messengers, and choicest people, and those honored by you from among your created beings. O Allah, please send blessings on Ali, the commander of the believers, and the successor of the messenger of the Lord of the worlds, your servant, your beloved representative, and the brother of your messenger, and your decisive argument over the mankind, and your most important sign, and the great news from you. And please do send blessings on the truthful pure lady Fatima, the best of women of the world, and please do send blessings on the sons of the mercy to the world, the two leaders of true and guidance, the two leaders of true guidance, Al-Hasan and Al-Hussein, the two chiefs of the dwellers of paradise, and please do send blessings on the leaders of the Muslims, Ali ibn al-Hussein, ومحمد ibn Ali, وجعفر ibn Muhammad, وموسى ibn Ja'far, وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي. Those Imams, your decisive arguments over your servants, your trustworthy confidants in your lands, blessings that are numerous and non-stop. O Allah, please do send blessings on the custodian of your commandments, the vigilant guardian, the reliable patron, and the awaited justice, and please surround him with your favorite angels, and assist him with the Holy Spirit, O the Lord of the worlds. O Allah, please choose him to be the caller to your book and for establisher of your religion, and make him succeed in the earth as you caused those who were before him to succeed, and establish for him his faith which you have approved of him, and give him in exchange safety after the fear he serves you. He ascribes nothing as partner to you. O Allah, please give him power and authority, and through him strengthen the people, and give him the necessary assistance, and through him support the people, and help him with mighty help, and make him prevail over all with easiness, and delegate him your controlling authority. O Allah, please give currency to your religion and to your Prophet's traditions through him, so that nothing which is just and genuine is kept concealed from any one of the human beings. O Allah, we ardently desire that you confer upon us a respectful government, through which you may reactivate Islam and stimulate its followers, and humble and humiliate the impostors and their double-dealing shams, and include us among those who invite people to the obedience to you, and lead them to your approved path, and give us the good of this world and the world to come. O Allah, let us bear out and hold up that which you make known to us as the truth, and let us be fully aware of that which we fall short of doing. O Allah, through him set in order our disorder, gather and unite our flock, stitch together our ripped open separation, turn our want and poverty into enough, lift us up from our degradation, free us from our misery, pull us out of from our debts, set up our proper poverty. Fill the gap created by confusion amongst us. Let our difficulties be easy to deal with. Refine our substance and style. Untie our ropes and straps. Let our efforts succeed well and secure success. Make us fulfill our promises. Give answers to our prayers. Listen to our requests. Cause us to obtain the good of this world and the hereafter. Give us much and more than our expectations, O the best of givers and bestowers, and cleanse our hearts, unburden our emotions from hate and anger, and in the event of dispute in the matter of truth, show us the right path. Verily, you guide whoever you will to the right path. Let us through him get the better of your enemies and your opponents. O the true God, be it so. O Allah, we complain to you about the departure of our Prophet, your blessings on him and on the household, and about the absence of our leader, and about the big numbers of our enemies, and about our few number, and about widespread disorder, and about vicissitudes of time against us. So please Do send blessings on Muhammad and his household, and help us overcome all that through victory from you that you expedite, and through relieving us from our injuries, and through your help that you confirm, and through bringing in the rule of justice and fair play, and through mercy that you expand over us, and through good health that you cover us with. Out of your mercy, O most merciful of those who show mercy, برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، خالق السماوات والأرض، إلها واحدا أحدا صمدا لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، خاتم النبيين، رحمة للعالمين، طه وياسين بالقاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين المنتجبين، ورحمة الله على محبيهم ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتبارك في كتابه الحكيم وفرقانه المجيد وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. All praise belongs to Allah, Lord of the universe. May His infinite blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad and the family of Prophet Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullah. Peace and blessings of God be upon all of you. As we continue our discussion in these days of the holy month of Ramadan, the blessed month, we were talking about this ayah, the verse of the Holy Quran from Surah Mubarakah Baqarah, the second surah of the Quran, in which Allah the Almighty is addressing the believers and telling them, O you who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, kutiba alaykum as-siyam, fasting is prescribed for you, has been made mandatory upon you as it was on those before you, so that لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may acquire piety, so that you may become pious. We were talking about in the previous discussion about how we will look at the Prophet's khutbah, the Prophet's sermon, welcoming the month of Ramadan, and the verses that we are talked about were speaking specifically about the fasting. This particular series of verses, and as we had mentioned earlier, fasting has been seen as a way of getting closer to God, closer to Allah the Almighty, by refraining from food. So basically, there has been an interconnection, if you want to call it that, an interconnection between giving up something that we like for a higher purpose, for a higher cause. And so, people throughout the ages, throughout the centuries, throughout human history, have seen fasting or have taken fasting based on divine decree, based on the decree of various prophets and holy personalities that had come to make fasting as a way of depriving oneself of food, drink, or enjoyment, or any sort of pleasure, any sort of deed that brings about happiness, and they give that up for a specific period of time, for a specific amount of time, in order to get closer to the Almighty Creator, in order to reach a higher spiritual station or a spiritual status. And so it is not just in Islam, as the verse mentions, "Kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum," but other faiths, even till today, use fasting as a way of getting closer to the Almighty. And one of the things that we wanted to also see today was that fasting is not something that's impossible or severely difficult. Of course, I'm not speaking about those who have got medical issues, those who might be diabetics, who might be on medication, or those who might be on antibiotics, those who are severely aged and they need to eat, or those who have got, for example, breastfeeding. I don't want to get into the jurisprudence or the fiqh aspects of fasting, who has to fast, who doesn't. Of course, there are books on fiqh and on the principles of jurisprudence that go into the details as to who has to fast, who doesn't. We're talking about a general level of fasting whereby people have used fasting to get closer to Allah. And sometimes people have used excuses that, oh, we have so much food now. Fasting was in the time that people didn't have enough food, and that's why they had to fast. And these types of arguments are irresponsible, illogical arguments when the Almighty Creator has ordained, has prescribed, has mandated something such as fasting or the prayers or the hajj, or the zakat or the hummus or the financial obligations, the spiritual obligations, the physical obligations. It is there because Allah knows that the Almighty Creator knows what is going to happen in the future. He is the Creator. He knows what is good for us. And as I was mentioning in the previous discussion, He knows that we have spiritual ailments that need to be attended to, that need to be cured with the different remedies that the Almighty prescribes for us, and one of them, of course, being fasting. So we cannot say that this was for one era, or this is not applicable now, or this is not applicable in North America or Western society. These arguments do not hold water in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty. So we see that, whatever is within our reach or our ability, Allah has ordained that or prescribed that. And whatever our obligation is, we have to fulfill that. We have to make sure that we fulfill the obligations that the Almighty Creator has placed upon us. And there's a very beautiful story that was narrated from the time of Prophet Ibrahim, Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, alayhi salam, in which when Nimrod, the king, had set a huge fire, and the intention was to burn Ibrahim because he was talking about monotheism, he was talking about the oneness of God, he was talking about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so he had built a big fire, and the intention was to burn Prophet Ibrahim in that. And then they had a dilemma because they set the fire was so difficult that nobody could reach there, and obviously they couldn't tell Khalilullah, the friend of Allah, Ibrahim, that can you please just go walk into that fire. They had to have some way to get him into that fire. And so we are told that the Shaitan, went into a human garb and suggested to them to develop this catapult, the catapult that they could throw Prophet Ibrahim into this huge fire and, of course, achieve their goal of burning him, of annihilating Prophet Abraham. And so as they were about to do this, and as Prophet Ibrahim was being flung into the fire, a small bird sees this scenario, this dilemma, and goes to the river nearby, takes a little bit of water in its beak, and spits it into the fire. The others, the other bird, and some narrations mention it was a frog, some mention other animals, but we'll take this for our purposes today. The other birds were laughing that, what are you trying to do? You're trying to put out this huge fire with a small spit of water. And the bird's reply was something that we need to fundamentally apply and understand in our lives. The bird replied that on the day of judgment, when Allah the Almighty asks that you saw my Habib, my beloved, being flung into this fire, what did you do about that? What did you do? And I, as this bird, I don't have the power to put out the fire. But whatever was within my ability, within my range, I did that. And so we also have to look at ourselves, my dear sisters and brothers, and my youngsters and my elders. We have to look at ourselves in this way and see what have we done with the abilities that Almighty Allah has given us. We are lucky and fortunate in so many ways. What have we done with these ni'mat, with these bounties, with these graces that Allah has placed upon us? How have we served the Almighty Creator? And this is something the month of Ramadan causes us to remind ourselves of. And so when we look at these examples, we see that whatever is within our grasp, this is what Allah puts the responsibility upon us. And the Quran Majid mentions that Allah will never put a responsibility on you that is beyond what you can bear. So whatever we have done, we have been given, these are things that we can bear, we have the ability to bear, and we must bear. So the month of Ramadan Sharif, the holy month, is no different. So we've got a number of sayings of the Holy Prophet. We've got a number of sayings of the Aimma, the verses of the Holy Quran, welcoming the month of Ramadan Sharif, the holy month of fasting, and the fasting itself being the primary responsibility, the recitation of the Holy Quran being the primary revelation that had come down in this. The last Friday before the holy month of Ramadan started, the Holy Prophet of Islam gave a very beautiful, slightly lengthy khutbah, but a beautiful khutbah, a sermon, in which he says that, "O people, ayyuhan nas, O people, indeed ahead of you is the blessed month of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A month of blessing, a month of mercy, a month of forgiveness, a month with Allah which is the best of months. Its days are the best of days. Its hours are the best of hours. Its nights are the best of nights. It is a month in which you are the guests of Allah the Almighty. You are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And be amongst those who are near to Him. Be close to Allah. Each breath you take is a glorification. Your sleep, when you are sleeping, this is worship. And even your deeds, your small deeds and your supplications are answered and accepted by Almighty Allah. So ask Allah your Lord. The Prophet is saying, ask Allah your Lord to give you a sound body and an enlightened heart so that you may be able to fast and recite His book. And those who are unhappy, only he who is unhappy, who is devoid of Allah's forgiveness. That means that truly unfortunate or unhappy will be the one who is devoid of Allah's forgiveness during this great month. Remember the hunger and thirst of the day of Qiyamah, the day of judgment. One of the things that the month of Ramadan al-Sharif does while we are fasting, and the fasting is supposed to remind us of, is that on the day of judgment, on the day of resurrection, there will be hunger, there will be thirst, there will be a lot of difficulties. It's not going to be an easy day, a day that will be 50,000 fasan, a day that will be 50,000 years long, and there will be hunger and there will be thirst. And so we are encouraged. The Prophet says, remember the hunger and thirst of the day of Qiyamah with your hunger and thirst on this day. Then the Prophet also says, give alms to the needy and the poor. Honor your old. Show kindness to the young. Maintain relations with your blood relatives. Guard your tongues. Close your eyes to that which is not permissible for your sight. Close your ears to that which is forbidden to hear. Show compassion to orphans so that your orphans will be shown compassion to. Repent to Allah for the sins that we have committed. The hands should be raised in dua in this time, for they are the best of times, and Allah looks towards His creatures with kindness, replying to them during the hours and granting their needs, whatever they ask for, whatever is asked. O people, ayyuhan nas, indeed your souls are dependent on your deeds. Free your soul. We have been given analogies that sometimes our souls become prisoners. Our souls are imprisoned by our desires, by our sins, by the enticements around us. The Prophet is saying, free your soul with istighfar, with forgiveness, with seeking forgiveness. Lighten the loads of these sins. Lighten the load with long prostrations, with sujood that are lengthy. And know that be aware, Allah swears by His night that there is no punishment for the one who prays and prostrates, and he shall have no fear of the fire on the day when man stands before the Lord of the universe. Allahu Akbar. And so the Prophet says, Ayyuhan nas, one who gives iftar to a fasting person during this month will be like the one who has freed a slave in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His past sins will be forgiven. Some people had asked the Prophet, Ya Rasulullah, not all of us are able to invite somebody for iftar. Not all of us have the capability to do iftar, to invite those who have fasted. The Prophet says the reward is the same, even if you give a glass of water and a date to somebody. It doesn't mean a whole meal. Somebody who gives even a little something, and many mu'mineen are asking that now we're going through a more challenging time, a fairly significantly challenging time, where we have social distancing, where we cannot meet, we cannot gather together, we cannot do jama'ah prayers, we cannot get together and have iftar together. But that should not stop us from maintaining relations with each other, whether it is, if it is safe and if it is permissible and possible to do so, to drop off iftar at somebody's door, to drop off something at one of our family members or our close friends, if it is possible, if it is safe. Of course, we must make sure that all the hygienic issues, all the health officials' recommendations are fulfilled and followed. Please remember that it is a very, very critical importance for us to do this. Our maraja, our ulama have said that, especially in this pandemic time. And at the same time, if you can't do any of that, another suggestion we have is that, for example, let's say you wanted to give iftar to somebody, you wanted to maintain a relation with somebody, phone them, call them, email them, write to them, maintain some contact, because this is something we should be doing anyways. But more importantly, and more so critically, when we are going through these different challenges, we have to improvise. We have to come up with creative ways of maintaining touch. And I've known, some halakas, there's all these different sites where you can have togetherness. You can recite the Quran Majid together. You can have iftar together. See each other having iftar together, even though everybody's in their own homes, through the different methods that are now so easily and readily available on the internet. And so we have no shortage of these things that are able to be done to be able to keep relations and contact with each other, and with believers maintaining contact with one another. So this is really important for us to maintain, because as we know from our Islamic foundations, Islam is a social religion. And this is why I know that it's very painful for a number of people. The word, Jum'ah, Salatul Jum'ah, the Friday prayers, comes from the same as Jama'ah, togetherness. That is why you cannot pray Salatul Jum'ah, Salatul Eid on your own. The Furada Salat, the other prayers can be done in Furada, but not Jummah prayers, not Eid prayers, for example. So Islam is a social religion. Islam recognizes that we have to have interconnection with one another. We meet together, we get together on Thursday night, on Laylatul Jummah, Shabi Jummah, and we meet with each other usually. On the Friday prayers, we get together. Some places have programs on Saturday, some have programs on Friday nights, some have programs on Tuesday nights with Dua Tawassul. And so we sometimes feel very upset, full of anxiety, sad that we can't do this. But at the same time, that doesn't stop us. And I know many ulama, many scholars are working to do lectures on Thursday nights and on Tuesday nights and on various other events and special occasions. Please maintain that. And I encourage the believers, the mu'mineen, my youngsters, my elders, to make sure that they keep this connectivity. Because sometimes the tests on our spirituality, those tests can be very challenging. And we have to maintain our taqwa, our closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we have to maintain our link with Allah, with each other, with the community. And sometimes we may feel this loss, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere. Lillahi mulku samawati wal ard. To Allah belongs the majesty of the heavens and the earth. So every place is a Baytul Salat. Every place is a Musalla. Your own home, whether it's a room you allocate in your home, whether it is the house itself, whether it is your parents' home, whether it is your children's home. But make sure that we maintain this connectivity. Very, very critical, very important. And so there's continuing our discussion on the fifth Imam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger, the fifth Imam of the household of the Prophet, from designated by Allah, Imam Muhammad ibn Ali al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, mentions that in this month of Ramadan, and the Imam says, don't just say Ramadan, say Holy Ramadan, Shahr Ramadan, Ramadan Muhtaram, just respectfully address the month of Ramadan. The Imam says that this is when you are the guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so those who are fasting, they are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, I mentioned that, whether somebody cannot fast for legitimate reasons, they are in a different category. But when you fast, you are a guest of Allah. And it's interesting. When you want to invite somebody over, and of course not in these times, but in the past, inshallah, in the future, again, when things open up and we're able to invite one another, that the host always has the desire to make the guest feel wanted, to make the guest feel happy, and the meal is delicious, so that the environment, if you invite somebody and you leave the lights off and you cook something that is, very uninviting, if you want to call it that. And I'm not giving any specific examples, because everybody's taste buds are different. Some people may like lentils, dal, some people may like meat, some people may like chicken, some people may like vegetables, some people may like eggplant, cauliflower, some people want to have, fish and whatever the need, whatever is it, there's no discerning point as to this is good, this is not. But when you invite somebody, when you want to be the host and you're inviting somebody, you try to make sure you will want to do something that the guest that you're inviting will be happy. Correct? You know that. And so you can imagine that when you're inviting somebody, you want them to be happy. And oftentimes, when, alhamdulillah, I get invited to the occasional places, and after the meal or as they will ask, "Would you like some tea? Would you like this?" After the dinner, after the iftar, after the meal is over, they'll say, "Did you enjoy? Brother Shafiq, did you enjoy everything? Was everything all right? Was the food nice? Was it tasty? Was it too much salt? Was it too much spice? Was it too much this? Was it too much that? Too little this? Too little that?" And they will make sure that everything is as perfect as possible. Now, this is how we entertain our guests. This is how we look after our guests when we want to be the host. Imagine the creator of the universe is keeping a banquet. And that banquet is for all of the creation, you and me and everybody else. Imagine how attentive Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be in hosting us, making sure everything is perfect, making sure everything is palatable. And that is why the meal will be a spiritual meal. It will be a spiritual station and a hosting. So Allah Ta'ala wants to make sure that our needs are fulfilled, what we want. Because we've got the food and everything we have around us is there, but Allah wants to make sure that the environment that is there is also unique, special, and being the host, Allah Ta'ala will do everything He can for us. So you can imagine when the Prophet talks about this blessed month, and in that khutbah as he continues, and he has talked about the Allah being the host. Imam Bakr has alluded to that fact that we are the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the host. Then the Prophet says, the Prophet goes on to say that one who has good morals, good akhlaq, during this month will be able to pass the sirat, the bridge on the day of judgment, which is going to be thinner than a hair, sharper than a sword. The fire of Jahannam will be below. Allahu Akbar. May Allah protect us from that bridge, inshallah, bi'idhnillah, bi'idhnillah. The Prophet said they will be able to pass on that day clearly, inshallah. That they will not slip if they have maintained good akhlaq, good morals, good values. The one who covers the faults of others will benefit in that Allah will curb His anger on the day of judgment. And if you cover the fault of another believer, Allah's anger will be subsided on the day of judgment. Whoever honors an orphan, Allah will honor that person on the day of judgment. Whoever spreads kindness to others, Allah Ta'ala will spread His mercy over him on the day of judgment. So the beauty and the holiness as the month of Ramadan approaches and is before us has been something that the Prophet gave a great deal of importance to, a significant amount of attention to. And so the believers have been given this opportunity to reflect. And again, we should be doing constant, improvement in our days, in our lives, in our, moments. So you can say even 1 minute to the next, 1 moment to the next, 1 hour to the next, to improve ourselves, to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so when we look at and we reflect upon the khutbah that the Prophet gave, it is a mind turning, it's a whole, you can say, spiritually turning, altering khutbah, whereby we see things from a whole different perspective, a whole different light, if you want to call it that. And when we do that, when we reflect upon it, inshallah, then we become that much closer to Allah. And then we can say that we are, inshallah, benefiting truly, fully, and spiritually from the holy month of Ramadan. And when the Quran Majid is referring to, and it goes on, the next verses talk about the month of Ramadan and how it is a greater month than other months. شهر عظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور. It is a month that has got more blessings than other months, more mercy than other months, more benefits than other months. And of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has got certain times of the days, weeks, months that are better than others, so that we try and get our act together, so that we try and make ourselves more disciplined. And all the days, all the hours have got a significance. It's not that the one moment is insignificant. I shouldn't have to worry about it, and I shouldn't do good deeds. No, no. Every moment is effective in its own way. Every moment, every day, every week, every month has got significance and importance. But then Allah Ta'ala puts a little bit of extra emphasis on certain times. And this is just to invite the believers to be even more vigilant and even more determined and even more encouraged to do something. And as I gave the example in our previous discussion, that there are certain times of the year or days of the month or days of the week that some employers will give you extra salary bonuses, and depending on how the company has done. So these are incentives. You have to do work all the time anyways. You should be doing your proper 8 hours work anyways, but there are certain times that we have got a little extra emphasis, and that emphasis helps to train us, to develop us, and to make us even better. So we ask Almighty Allah to accept our deeds, our fasting, our recitation of the Holy Quran, our recitation of the various tasbihs and the praises that we do. We ask Allah to accept it. Those who are ill, Allah Ta'ala, we ask Him, we beg Him to cure them from their illnesses. We ask Allah to protect our scholars, our maraja, our ulama. And inshallah, we ask Allah to return our Mawla, Imam al-Hujjah, back to us quickly and make us amongst the Ashab and the Ansar and of the Imam, and in this month of Ramadan to have our sins and our evil deeds forgiven, inshallah, so that we may be of the muttaqi and we may be closer to Allah. Wassalamu alaikum جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم.
O Allah, help us to be like the Masum who you love the most, like Muhammad. Give us the most excellent manner, like Ali. Make us brave and ready to do whatever makes you happy, like Fatima. Let us be kind and caring towards our parents, like Hassan. Help us to be calm and forgiving, like Hussein. Keep us with the truthful, like Ali Zainul Abidin. Keep us busy in remembering you, like Muhammad al Bakr. Give us knowledge that is useful, like Jafar al Sadiq. Keep Make us appreciate the amazing world we have created. You have created, like Musa al Kazim. Help us to control our anger, like Ali al Riza. Make us please pleased with whatever you have planned for us, like Muhammad al Taqi. Make us to make us for those who have taqwa, like Ali al Naki. Help us to lead the Muslims towards good, like Hassan al Askari. Help us towards our time in praying towards for the 12th Imam, like our al Hajat al Mahdi. Make May we bring peace and act by acting to the teachings of the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أسألك باسمك يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم يا كريم يا مقيم يا عظيم يا قديم يا عليم يا حليم يا حكيم. سبحانك يا لا إله إلا أنت الغوث الغوث خلصنا من النار. يا سيد السادات يا مجيب الدعوات يا رافع الدرجات يا ولي الحسنات يا غافر الخطيئات يا معطي المسألات يا قابل التوبات يا سامع الأصوات يا عالم الخفيات يا دافع البليات. سبحانك يا لا إله إلا أنت الغوث الغوث
خلصنا من النار
يا من له العزة والجمال يا من له القدرة والكمال يا من له الملك والجلال يا من هو الكبير المتعال يا منشئ السحاب الثقال يا من هو شديد المحال يا من هو سريع الحساب يا من هو شديد العقاب يا من عنده حسن الثواب يا من عنده الكتاب. سبحانك يا لا إله إلا أنت الغوث الغوث
خلصنا من النار
اللهم إني أسألك باسمك يا حنان يا منان